Hello, everyone, and welcome back to First and 10. It's been a while. We're back.
Yep.
It's playoff time. We're back bigger, better, and hitting harder than a Jadeveon Clowney hit. So, that's where we're coming from here. It has been a while. We did let y'all enjoy the excitement of the race to the finish line of the NFL season. That has now come and gone, and it was an enjoyable season. I enjoyed everything, and of course the last week of the season, especially for you and your division, was always very, very exciting. Unfortunately, your team didn't get to make the playoffs, but hey, that's what I've been dealing with for the past 12 years, so you get to just watch the playoffs. It's less stressful for you, so you can just kick back, relax, have a cold water, and enjoy the greatness that will be here, because we're about to put some knowledge on you. So, welcome back, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah.
And I guess just before we jump into the wildness of Wild Card Weekend, there's, of course, just a little bit of news, I guess, going on with coaches in the NFL, because the season ended last Sunday, and last Monday, a whole heap of them got cut. And some of them were not so surprising, like Andy Reid and Chan Gailey, but one I'd say really was at the likes of Lovie Smith of the Chicago Bears. But then again, when you're basically a 7-1 team at one point, and you need help to get in the playoffs, you've done something wrong. So, and you're only 10-40 against teams with winning records. Not a good thing to have happen there. But the big story here is the Andy Reid is now close to being the new head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Does this excite you? It may actually really excite you, because you don't have to worry ever about playing him competitively again.
Well, Andy Reid, good for him. I know we had a show a few weeks ago, talking about coaches and stuff. Nothing against him. I think it was time for him to leave Philly. So nothing wrong there. Kansas City, it's an interesting fit for him. A lot of the reports are saying that Kansas City, they're willing to give him a lot of space to maneuver. This is truly going to be his team. Well, yeah, it's true.
Physically.
Yeah. And so, this is going to be his team. He's going to be able to shape it whichever way he wants, get rid of people, bring in people, that kind of stuff. Now, they haven't put in a new GM yet, but apparently that's not going to matter. Andy Reid's going to have a lot of control over this team, which I think is what he wants, and maybe that's what Kansas City needs, too. If you're going to hire someone like that with his kind of football smarts, I think that's the perfect thing to do. It'll be interesting to see with the quarterback situation, how he's going to deal with that. What's going to happen there, but he's got some work to do. I think he will maybe not make playoffs next year, but if you're a Kansas City fan, you got to be excited for the future.
Yeah, definitely. There's not too much depth in that division anyway. Yeah. So when you look at the likes of the Raiders and the Chargers, there's another team in there that I think actually did quite well this year, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's a good thing, you just said, Andy Reid had to leave Philly, and I think Philly had to leave Andy Reid. I think him having control is going to be an interesting thing. However, they do need a new quarterback and a lot of other positions as well to be filled. And this year for draft prospects, not a lot of strong quarterbacks, so this is the one year you don't want to be number one, and that's unfortunately what Kansas City has, by the draw of being so terrible this year, has got themselves. But
it's Denver, right? Denver,
of course. Denver is the other team, so they're of course doing really well now, the number one AFC seed in the playoffs. And I guess the only other coaching thing that has a lot of people interested is Chip Kelly, the head coach of Oregon in the NCAA, who now they've just finished up their season winning the Fiesta Bowl yesterday, has been meeting with two teams in the NFL. One is my beloved Buffalo Bills, the other the Cleveland Browns. So is Chip Kelly an NFL coach in your mind?
I don't think so. Not from what I've seen from him in NCAA. I think he's done great things with Oregon. I think everyone will agree with that. But his style of offense is very unique and very different from the NFL. NFL is a lot bigger. Now they have been moving more towards speed and that crazy spread offense, but the Oregon Ducks, they are all about speed. Even their linemen, even their defensive line, they're not really big guys who can stop the run. So, I mean, that'll be the biggest transition if Chip Kelly does come into the NFL. I think he is by nature a college football coach. I don't know if he can necessarily get the respect of other grown men, other grown players who are getting paid to do what they're doing. You know, it's a completely different mentality, and we've seen it a lot of college football coaches who have great success in the NCAA come into the NFL and don't succeed. Might be a little biased though, because I'd love to see Chip Kelly stay on the Ducks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I think it's an interesting thing. I think Chip Kelly can transition. I just don't know if the two teams he's looking at right now, or looking at him, are the perfect fit. I don't think the glove fits the hand here, if you know what I'm saying. Because I think if any of all those two teams, the one that probably may suit him the best is Buffalo, because under Chan Gailey they did run some wildcat plays some of the time, and it was successful. But on the other hand, sometimes not so successful. So I think it could work out there more so. Cleveland, I don't know. Cleveland's a whole other issue within them. I don't know if Chip Kelly wants to jump right into that fire, because that's a whole other situation. I think Buffalo, they're meeting with a lot of other coaches as well. The one that I'm really interested in the meeting is Lovie Smith. I think Lovie Smith is the perfect coach for Buffalo, because that division is so dominated by Bill Belichick and his mastermindness, and the Rex Ryan ego and Rex Ryan mouthpiece stuff. I think the Bills need a coach that can get them some attention in terms of marketability, and Lovie Smith is one of them. He did take Chicago with basically no offense to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they lost to the better offense in the Indianapolis Colts, and they've always been a strong contender, has Chicago under him. Whether they may not have the best offenses or not, I think Lovie can work things out with what we have at offense already and help improve our defense, which I felt for all the money he put into Buffalo, they didn't fill out any of the rewards there. So I think he knows how to fix a defense, which I think they really, really need to be fixed. The offense on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 5, but the defense is where we need to fix it up, because defense eventually does win championships. But that's enough of the coaching mumbo jumbo.
That's for next year.
That's for suckers. This is all about the wild card weekend. I don't have cards on me, but I mean, pick a card, any card. It is wild card weekend, and dare I say, this is one of the most funnest weekends in the NFL. Happy so far. It's at this many teams. I know the NFL is considering adding more teams.
No,
don't
love it like this.
Just don't. Everyone loves it like this. If you got a good thing, don't break it. Don't. But we get some football on the Saturday. 2 games on the Saturday. 2 games on the Sunday. And the first game on the Saturday at 4:30 is a game that really, really intrigues me. It's actually a rematch from last year's wild card, as the Cincinnati Bengals take on the Houston Texans. Now, if you think just because it's a rematch, it's going to be the same story, no. These are 2 different teams from there. Cincinnati last year squeaked in, and by hook or by crook did get into the playoffs. Houston was a bit of a miracle. They fell apart down the stretch, but they were also doing it with a third-string quarterback. So I don't know how much you can give them some slack there. This year, they're the best team for the whole period of time, really, in the AFC, and they've just blown it down the stretch. I haven't looked that impressive at all on both sides of the ball. Cincinnati, on the other hand, they have looked really impressive the past couple weeks. I mean, more so, I guess, in the victory they got over Pittsburgh, because they hadn't beaten Pittsburgh in like 12 tries. I mean, that's embarrassing right there, but they got it done. So I guess I will ask you, who do you like in the very first wild card game, the Bengals or the Texans?
Cincinnati, they are hot. They're as hot as Andy Dalton's hair, I'll tell you that much. Oh my God!
Orangey, but okay.
On fire, all right. The Bengals, they're on a 3-game winning streak. They've beaten teams like Baltimore, like the Steelers. Texans lost 3 of their last 4 games coming into the playoffs. It's going to be quite the matchup. Texans defense, they need to stop AJ Green. That is the key to Texans defense. If they can stop AJ Green, they've stopped 50% of the Bengals offense. It's going to be tough, obviously. I'm pretty sure every team that the Bengals have played has tried to coach against that. and I mean a lot of them have failed. And now the other thing is, I think the Texans need to run the ball. They need to get back to that running game, and with their two feature backs, just pound the ball against the Bengals as usual, and then Schaub's gonna have to come up with some big plays. I mean, especially with Andre Johnson there, he's gonna have to show up in the playoffs. Yeah, it's interesting because Schaub didn't really play in the playoffs last year.
He never. No.
Yeah, so this is like
the only
first
quarterback
start
to get a win in Houston Texan playoff history is T.J. Yates.
Yeah.
So think about that, folks.
So my only thing though, I'm thinking the home field advantage. That's really gonna help the Texans here. I know you're going with the Bengals, but.
I don't think I've made a pick yet.
Oh, he hasn't made a pick yet.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Well, I am going with Houston Texans. I think it's going to be close, but I think that they've had the playoff mentality all season, and now that they're there, they're going to show up.
I think this game is definitely, like I said, to start the branch off here. I think it's going to be a much more competitive game than it was last year. Both teams were struggling. The one thing that I think really helped Houston in that game was the crowd and the noise inside Reliance Stadium. I think that's huge. It really shows how important home field is when it comes to the playoffs. I think the Bengals, on the other hand, though, much better team than that, I think, than they were last year. Dalton's got a lot more confidence. He not just mix. He's not just a one-trick pony to AJ Green. He's mixing it up with the receivers. Plus the confidence that he has now in a more so stronger running back in Ben Jarvis Green-Ellis, I think, more so than Cedric Benson, really helps Cincinnati out a lot. So going with what I see here, I like Houston a lot, but I mean, it's all about momentum and how you get to the playoffs. Like, just look at your Giants from last year. They got hot towards the end of the season, and to me, if you and recent trends show, being a wild card team is actually really, really good because you potentially could win the Super Bowl. So one of these, 4, 5, 6 teams could win the Super Bowl here out of this. And I think a good candidate may actually surprisingly be the Cincinnati Bengals, who have a really underrated defense too. So I like Cincinnati in the upset. I guess upset it would be, but I'll take them as well. Moving on to the other Saturday game, which I think, by the way, this game is just fantastic in its own right. Make sure you get the kids, get the wife, and sit them down. This is going to be a good one. You definitely don't want to miss it. It's a rematch from last week as the Minnesota Vikings take on the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau. We just talked about momentum, and is the momentum of AP going all day on the Green Bay Packers? Is that gonna be too much for Green Bay to stop? Is it?
It's gonna be. It's an interesting matchup, definitely. You got Minnesota. I think their biggest enemy right now is confidence. And I know they got lots of it, but do they have too much of it? Yes, they beat Green Bay last week, but they only beat them by 3. And I mean, Green Bay, they're well coached. So it's tough to see Green Bay lose two games in a row to the same team. With that said, AP ran for almost 200 yards on them. That's a terrible run defense.
Well, yeah.
In Green Bay.
He ran for 200 yards.
That is awful.
Earlier in the season at Lambeau.
Well, so there you go. Here's all I'm going to say. AP is going to score, and he's going to rush for almost 200 yards again. Aaron Rodgers is also going to score and just eat up that. What it's going to come down to there? Ponder. Christian Ponder. What can Christian Ponder do with the ball? First playoff game in the NFL he's going to be playing in. And I think he's going to be nervous. I think they're going to limit his throws, but I think he's going to be a little nervous, and Green Bay is going to capitalize on a few interceptions of his. And I think that's going to be the difference. He didn't throw. I don't think he threw any interceptions last week, which was good. But yeah, those nerves I think are going to get the best of Ponder, and Green Bay's defense is going to make some big plays. They may not be able to stop AP, but they can change the game in some other ways.
This is an interesting game for me as well, obviously because it was, a match from last week, and we've seen it already as well from Lambeau in the regular season here. I think it will come down to what you just said. I think it will come down to Ponder. But I think Ponder's been playing some of the best football, not just as of late for him, but maybe in all of the NFL, and we just haven't seen it because we've all been focused on Peterson trying to break Eric Dickerson's record and stuff of that nature. So I think the Packers are going to be so worried about having to stop Adrian Peterson that they may forget that there's a guy that's got to throw the ball. And he's come up big with some big receivers like Michael Jenkins, who, used to play in the Falcons. I think he'll come through for them. But there's always a but here. It's Green Bay at Lambeau. And I don't think... I've only seen them lose one time in the opening start of a playoffs, and that was when Michael Vick was the man in football, like this thing we'd never seen before. That boy right there got it done in I believe his rookie season or second season when he was the named starter. I don't know if Christian Ponder can do that here. I don't think if he can be that big of a playmaker. He's got a playmaker with him, but if he gets contained, that's going to have to be a lot to Christian Ponder to step up. And I think Green Bay is going to learn from the mistakes they made last week and get it done. They're the only home team I really have a lot of confidence in, just because it's Green Bay at Lambeau. So Green Bay is my prediction. And moving to the holy day, Sunday, where, the matchups here I think are super, super, super intriguing. I mean, to start things off, you have your second AFC wildcard game. You had the Baltimore Ravens with Ray Lewis in potentially his last NFL game going against Andrew Luck. Your boy with the coach that, in my opinion, may not have had cancer because they just came back. I don't know. May not have, but whatever. He's back there, and they're playing some fantastic football. I mean, there's so many stories within this game. I mean, you got Jim Caldwell, the ex-Colts coach now, offensive coordinator for the Ravens. You got Andrew Luck, this rookie phenom, lighting it up.
Magical.
I would say magical. That pass to T.Y. Yates, my God, that was a thing of magic. And you got Ray Lewis, probably the best defensive player of our generation out there, potentially in his last NFL game. So I'll let you start. Who do you like here, even though I definitely think I know who you like here?
Well, yeah, you know who I like here. But Ray Lewis, as you just said, he is the wild card on wild card weekend. His leadership...
2 wild cards here, I'd say. We never saw that coming.
Interesting, right? I don't know what, he has always been such a leader with this team, and with him, I don't know what's going to happen to this defense that has struggled in the second half of this season. With him gone, now that he's back, are we going to see instant results? It's like I said, complete wild card there. I have no idea what's going to happen with this defense. I just got to go with the weeks past. They have stumbled into the playoffs. There's another one of those things that Baltimore stumbles in. Colts have been crazy hot. In Fuego, as Jason likes to say.
Yes.
And it's just remarkable. I don't think the Ravens defense is going to be able to stop Andrew Luck necessarily. He seems to be unstoppable right now. But also the Indianapolis Colts, they can't stop the run. And so even if Flacco on offense isn't firing on all cylinders, you got Ray Rice there. And you got to be able to run that ball against the Colts. Their defense is 29th. Rush defense. So I still gotta go with the Colts though. My boy Luck. Like I said, I think it's magic. I think they're a team of destiny right now. I also have a soft spot for Ray Lewis. Like I said, I think one of the greatest leaders, not only in football, but in all of sports. For sure. But I just think Baltimore's fallen too far and they can't dig themselves out of this.
I think this game just comes down to a little bit of a rhyme of hey diddle diddle Ray Rice up the middle. That's basically how I really see this game going. The Colts can't really stop the run, and they haven't really seen that many great running backs this NFL season. The only one I can really think of is Arian Foster and two times this season as well. Yeah. They really didn't contain him that much as well as you would like. They contained the passing attack of the Houston Texans. I think Joe Flacco in the last full game he played a little bit last week in Cincinnati, but they took him out. The backups were in there, which, hey, if I'm Baltimore, I don't have any problem you doing that. Why not? Why risk injury? The last time we saw Joe Flacco play a full game was against your Giants, and he definitely torched them. He lit him. He cut him up. He cut him up like chopped liver. Okay, and he served him to you too. So I can see that same Joe Flacco there. He can mix it up with Ray Rice and the whole motivation of getting Ray Lewis to one more Super Bowl. I think we've already seen the enjoyment of the success of Chuck Pagano and all that cancer issues, and now that it may have come to a fold, I think the time is done for the Indianapolis Colts. If any rookie, I mean, Andrew looks fantastic as a rookie, but I think the truck stops here. The Baltimore Ravens at home, empty the Indianapolis Colts season at M&T Bank Stadium.
Flacco has typically played well in the playoffs.
Typically, yes. Yes, he has. And let's think about it, folks. If Lee goddamn Evans could catch that football, they'd have played in the Super Bowl. Not blaming the kicker. Yeah. And then last but not least, speaking of rookies, we got not one but two great rookies. The Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Redskins. The Redskins win the division in the last week of the season with not so much because of RG3 in that football game, but because of the 6th round draft pick, Alfred Morris, swinging it out of the park for Dallas. They couldn't stop him all day. I don't know if Dallas could have stopped a cold if they took some Tylenol that last Sunday, but it's going to be a different attack here because the Skins are also a team that can run with their quarterback and run with their halfback, but so is Seattle. And I think Seattle's a little bit better at that than them. Plus, their defense is as scary as of a defense I would want to play on Wild Card Weekend. If you saw what they did to the 49ers, I mean, they battered the 49ers, who were the best offense in the NFL at that point in time. So, and if you can't tell where I'm going with this, I like Seattle. If any team to me right now is a team of destiny, it's the Seattle Seahawks. So I like the Seahawks. Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, stampeding over the Redskins. I think the Redskins, they limp in, and that's just going to be enough for them to limp out.
All right, well, there you go. Unlike a lot of the other matchups we've looked at this weekend, both these teams are on a roll coming into this game. Redskins, they haven't lost since week 9. They haven't lost since before their bye. And the Seahawks are on a 5-game win streak right now.
Yes.
So it's just two trains coming at each other as fast as possible.
The immovable force meeting the immovable object.
Well, there you go. And we don't have a game to watch this week because we talked about them all. But if we did, this would be the game to watch as far as I'm concerned. NFL's saving the best for last. Redskins, great offense against the Seattle's great defense. And I agree with you, though. I just think that Seattle's offense versus the Redskins' defense just may have the upper hand there. Lynch going to be able to run it. And Russell Wilson, although he hasn't necessarily thrown the most passes in the NFL this season, but he has thrown a lot of clutch passes in the NFL this season. And I like his kind of last minute, his ability to change a game with one throw. We saw it against Green Bay. He did it against the Patriots. He's done it a few other times this season. And I think if it comes down to him in the final couple minutes, he can also drive down the field. I think also Lynch will be a big deal there. And defense wins championships, Jay. So you got to go Seattle's defense. They're looking hot.
They are as well, and Fuego, they're actually muy en fuego. Muy en fuego. I think that's how you say it. But, it's going to be a good run now. We're into the good part of the NFL season. We've gone through the maze. We're almost at the light of the tunnel. We're almost at Super Bowl 47. But we got a couple more weeks to go, and the pretenders and the contenders will be shown starting this weekend with Wild Card Weekend. So, for Matt, I'm out. Peace.